You have a sunny.
Hi, we have
Hello,
sun today.
Maryland.
hello, everybody. Hello,
Marilyn.
Hello.
Hi, Marilyn.
Hi. Good to see everybody.
Hello,
Hi.
Kappa.
Hi.
Pasha Delay.
Oh, someone in the car.
I'm going to introduce you again today, Kempo, in case there's new people
Really?
last week.
Huh.
And 10 online.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hello, Rebes. Wow, everyone is already coming.
Oh, there's Debbie. You're in Florida, right?
Me?
Debbie's in Florida.
Think so.
Yep, she's in Florida. They haven't started.
Yes.
And I haven't.
And
She has hers muted,
Okay.
but it's muted.
Some good stuff for the Instagram.
okay, good.
What is?
Lachlan is taking pictures for Instagram. He's been very devoted and following through and helping out a lot.
Oh.
It's great to have a younger person.
I was thinking hashtag technical difficulties.
Wonder. Wait another 5 minutes. Kempo Rinpoche, or do you want to go ahead?
I want to go ahead.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
you think you have to wait a little bit, or what do you think?
Well, no, we can go ahead. That's fine.
Mm.
I'm happy with that. I'll
You know what they're doing.
what?
Yes.
What, Mary? Oh,
You
here.
know what they're doing. They missed the quiz.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Somebody just arrived, so
Anybody
just wait here a minute.
who's late is trying to miss the quiz.
Okay. Can we check at the door too? That person, just welcome them because
I think you're exactly right, Mary.
What did she say?
Nobody.
Mary said whoever's coming late is trying to miss the quiz.
Oh yes.
Nice, Mary. You're thinking. Oh,
No, ulterior motives.
absolutely. Hi, Artie.
Hi, Deb. It's nice to see you.
You too. And there's Annie. Hi, Annie. Hi, Martha. Wow. That's it's
Hi,
Sylvia.
Mila. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and if you want a tea or coffee.
Would you like some tea or coffee or any hot water?
I'm fine.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Okay. Yeah, just make yourself comfortable.
Say hi to Kempo
Yes.
over there.
Just have a seat. So, Kempo Rinpoche, this is Mila. She's new. She's joining
Who?
today.
Who's?
Mila, there on the.
Mila.
Can you see her?
Oh, Mila, nice to meet you.
Okay. Well, let's get started. I will introduce you again. Okay. So we're so fortunate to have you, Kempo Rinpoche, to do these teachings for us. It's really a precious opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are profoundly fortunate to receive these teachings from Kempo Samduk Rinpoche, and he is able to give the teachings of the Buddha in a very clear and direct manner that I have not seen before. Khenpo Samduk Rinpoche was born in the Kham region of Tibet and is a longtime student of His Eminence Garchen Rinpoche. He studied the 4 schools of Buddhist philosophy for over 12 years. He received instruction from several realized masters, such as Khenpo Munsel and Khenpo Jigme Punsa. He also taught Buddhist philosophy at the Kagyu School for 5 years, founded by His Holiness Drikun Kaiban Chetsang Rinpoche. Here, Khenpo Samduk Rinpoche also received vast teachings and transmissions of the Drikun Kagyu lineage. Thank you, Khenpo, very much for providing teachings on your very busy schedule. Now, a couple of things. If people could just please mute themselves. And Khenpo Samduk Rinpoche, can we just check the messages at the end of the teachings to see if anybody's asked a question that doesn't have a microphone? And then we can, okay, so when you're done and we do the question and answer, just if we could have a bit of time for that would be great.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Today we have a New Year celebration, the prayer flag ceremonies in the Dhamma Center in Virginia. So no 6 o'clock going to all the gathering together evening. So I'm going there when finish teaching. So I'm already on the way at the half of the way right now. By somebody's home is close to the tonight event. Yeah. Okay. So last week I shared with you the entrance to Buddhist refuge. Do you have any question there, area? Last week, refuge.
Anybody here?
Khenpo, I wasn't here last Saturday. So can you briefly summarize what's in your topic? Thank you.
Yes. Oh yeah, last week. Wow. Last week I shared with the refuge to Buddha, refuge to Dharma, refuge to Sangha. So we are same as patients, and the Buddha is the same as a doctor, Dharma is the same as a medicine, and Sangha is the same as a nurse, so who support for helping for the patients. So then we talk about who took the refuge, and so you have a opportunity to go to enlightenment. And last week I shared the refuge means you are become recognized as a citizen. So we are recognized our Buddha as a citizen. Yeah. And then when you talk the refuge, you offer the name card is recognize your boarding pass. So then receive the 37 practices like same as a passport. So like that, Gachin Rinpoche explained. So you are become citizen, then you can get passport, right? So if you wanted to fly somewhere, some other country, so you can get boarding pass like that, So we have to fly to free from samsara to go to the liberation, is Buddhahood. So that's the short, just summary refuge. Yeah. Okay. So then I want to ask you questions. Who was last week in the teaching? So Buddha is how to say the Buddha is a Tibetan name. Who going to Mary wanted to give answer? Mary, yes.
It's Sang-je.
What means sang?
It's purified, totally purified, and gay is fully developed.
Correct. Great. Sang means what is a sang means like? Sang is like purify. What is a purify?
What's purified are all afflictive emotions.
How many afflictive emotions?
All of them. They're all pure.
The sub-song. Okay, Debbie wanted
84,000.
No, that's it.
84,000?
No. Just follow by this is a philosophy where you cannot give an answer like kind of like yes or no, yeah, maybe, just have to specifically answer. Which P of I? Okay, so Martha, what else she wanted to give?
Aggression, greed, ignoring or confusion, jealousy, and envy.
Okay, so that's okay, but it's no specific answer. I wanted to specific answer. Obscurations. How many does say obscurations?
The
Adi, say
obscurations are under gay.
two obscurations. Okay, what is which two
That's not
obscurations?
under sang, that's under gay. That's the fully developed part.
No, just the obscuration.
They are the
Oh,
obscurations.
So it's the afflictive emotions and the cognitive obscuration.
yeah, that's the two obscurations. P of I, two obscurations. Okay, can you say again?
Afflictive emotion and cognitive.
Cognitive. See, the last one is called cognitive obscuration. So first one is the afflictive emotion obscuration, afflictive emotion obscuration. Second one is the cognitive obscurations.
Right.
So P of I, two obscuration. Give me J means, what is J?
Fully developed.
Develop what?
All of Buddha's qualities are fully developed.
Developed, okay, then what Buddha has?
He has the two wisdoms.
Give me two wisdoms.
The wisdom to see things exactly as they are in their ultimate nature, non-dualistically,
Okay.
and to see things perfectly in multiplicity. In other words, understanding karmic interdependence.
Okay, that's correct. Say two obscuration, no, two omniscience, right?
Two omniscience.
Yeah, so that's okay. So then refuge to Dharma. What is the if you take refuge to Dharma, which is like your commitment?
The commitments to Dharma.
Yes.
Not to harm any sentient being.
Okay, so that's correct. No harming for other sentient beings. Take refuge to Buddha. What is the commitment?
It's unmuted.
So you agree to not follow any worldly gods or deities, and
Okay.
that's the first one. The second
Yes.
one, you decide to not do any harm.
Okay.
And
Third.
and then the third one related to the Sangha is like you give up bad friends, like the Bodhisattva practice. People who
Okay.
make you lose your love and compassion.
Okay. So take refuge to Buddha. So we cannot take refuge to the other gods, right?
Yeah, because they're not Buddhas, so they haven't gone all the way, so they can't show you the way.
Okay, that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So take refuge Sangha is which kind of Sangha?
Not well. Is it the Noble Sangha then?
Yes, Noble. Yeah, Noble Sangha. Refuge Sangha is Noble Sangha.
Refuge. Okay.
Refuge. Yeah, object Sangha is Noble Sangha. Other this regular Sangha is community Sangha. You know. Community. How to say the community, right? Community.
Ordinary.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I must have to have four together. You know, four Sangha members.
Right.
So it's called
That's the number.
yeah. Okay, so great. Then no any questions, right? You get, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, so now then I'm going to share today. Today our topic is, I think, Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths. So that's the teachings I'm going to share today for you. Four Noble Truths. Where Four Noble Truths the Buddha shared? Do you know where he shared these teachings?
India.
India, yes. All the
Uh,
teaching is in India.
Varanasi.
That's
Deer Park.
Varanasi.
No,
There, yeah, Saranatha. Okay, so he shared their Four Noble Truths in there. Who's his disciple there?
His 5 disciples, human disciples, and the 8,000 heaven gods.
Wow.
wow.
Okay, so 5 disciples like that. Yeah, it's Four Noble Truths is first teaching, Buddha's first teaching.
Yes.
Yes.
First teaching. Okay, so basic teaching is first teaching. When he enlightened, so after that, he went to Saranatha. He enlightenment in Bodhigaya. So then he went to Saranatha. The reason is he wanted to share this Four Noble Truths teaching in there. So actually, all the 1,000 Buddhas going to enlightenment is in the Bodhigaya. All thousands Buddhas going to share the teaching is in the Varanasi. First teaching is that is the the home is a Buddha. After he enlightenment went to the Saranatha, he shared these teachings. So people who has how to say the pure perceptions. So pure perception, there see the when Buddha went to in Saranatha, there has 1,000 thrones. So then that means like all the 1,000 Buddha's seat is in there. And then Buddha Shakyamuni, his sit throne is a 4th throne. So that means he's the 4th Buddha. So then he shared these Four Noble Truths. When he shared these Four Noble Truths, his first disciple is the 5 disciples is called Ngade Zambo. Called Ngade Zambo, Tibetan called Ngade Zambo. It's like 5 disciples. So these 5 disciples also actually with Buddha together before his enlightenment. They went to meditate together 6 years. So then Buddha, 6 years after, he drank the water, he eat the food, so he changed the path. So other 5 disciples think is Buddha is lost. He went to wrong direction. Then they went, they give up the Buddha, so they went to their own themselves. So actually, when they went to meditate together, during that time, they promised each other who found the first path, who should become first, who found the right path, and then they go.
Hello.
Is someone calling?
Where are you? There you are. Okay.
Yeah, it's phone calling. So
Okay.
yeah, and so then when do you get it right? When they are together, during the 6-year meditation together, so that time they promise each other who's found the right path, first one, going to teach for others. But 6 years after, the Buddha eat the food, drink water, and the Buddha thing is have to look different ways, find the path. So the other 5 disciples lose the devotion and the faith, and they think Buddha went to wrong direction, so then they give up the Buddha, they went to the Saranata. Buddha stayed in the Bodhigaya. He found the path and his enlightenment in the Bodhigaya. Then Buddha looking for them, 5 of them. When Buddha went to Saranata, they don't want to receive teachings. So then they saw the Buddha is coming on the way. They say, who's that? They say, it's Buddha. They say, his looking is totally different. Then they promise each other, when no one get up, no one going to receive him. So then Buddha has come close to them. Is there no choice, They one by one give up. They did a prostration to the Buddha and asked the teaching. So then Buddha talk about this 4 noble truths. This 5 of them is become ahas and actually already liberated. They recognize, get realization become. So that's the teaching 4 noble truths. Buddha first he shared this teaching in the Saranata. Yeah, so this teaching is actually called the basic teachings. Basic just means he shared just for human being regular, they understand. That's why it's called regular teaching, basic teachings for focus for beginners. Of course, at that time there has many other disciples, but human being perception only 5 disciples to hear this teaching, 4 noble truths. So actually, of course, who has a pure perception, there's many other beings to receiving the teachings. So that's why I share with you, there's 1,000 seats in the Varanasi. Regular beings don't see that, don't recognize, but who has pure perceptions, so there's 1,000 seats. Buddha is the second Mabalat, other seat, and then he sat down the 4th throne and teach Dharma. But regular people don't recognize, they don't see that. There's different perceptions. So that's why the Dharma teaching, when Buddha taught the first teaching is you cannot make 100% decision with only he taught 4 noble truths, because it's different. There's capacities, student hear the difference, not the same. But this is 4 noble truths. Usually we share the human beings regular student perception. So that's what it's called the 4 noble truths, usually talk about. But then also the 4 noble truths is, we cannot say it's the first Buddha's teaching too. When Buddha was enlightening in the Bodhigaya, he said, I found the profound path that is free from all the dualistic thoughts, free from all the views. But if I share this, no one understand. He said that, no one understand. Then he said, I'm not going to talk this. I'm just stay silent. So he didn't teach like one way, I think. He didn't talk the Dharma after enlightenment. Then his story, the gods, kings, and the Tibetan called the Tsangpa and the Yazin is like the 2 gods, kings, when approaching to Buddha. One is offering to the Dharma, this chakra and symbol. One offering to the Kong shores as request to teaching Dharma. So then Buddha went to the Saranata to share these 4 noble truths. So that's the reason we really cannot say 100% all 4 noble truths Buddha's first teaching. Actually, he already taught like some more profound teachings. Like he said, I recognize non-dualistic, free from all the views. So that is the teaching. He said, if I share this teaching, they don't understand the people. Yeah. So that's the reason is in the 4 noble truths, the teaching, there has a lots of scholars like telling different ways, debating each other. So the reason is the different perceptions, that they bring different like that kind of arguing, Okay. So now it's Four Noble Truths. I'm share this with you. The Four Noble Truths are the central pillars of the Buddha's teachings in the fact. So this is the central pillars for Noble Truth is Buddha's teaching. In fact, all of the Dharma is encompassed by the Four Noble Truths. The Buddha teachings all is in subsumed to this Four Noble Truths. That's why it's central pillar. So when he shared this teaching, is this Four Noble Truths is the totally different, than other religions become. So in India, that time, of course, there are many other religions, and they all believe the creator gods, different kind of creator gods. So Four Noble Truths is followed by the cause and the effect. That's why 100% different than other teachings. So the Four Noble Truths are four statements. He shared four statements the Buddha made in the first teaching he gave after attaining enlightenment. So the truth of suffering is that samsara is unsatisfactory. So first one is the truth of suffering is that samsara is unsatisfactory. Do you have this book, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so I from this book. So I cannot finish the whole thing. I share some part. Then after you have to read, your homework, so you have to read the whole thing. I'm going to share just the main point, what means Four Noble Truths. So I use this one is then also help for my, like what I'm talking about, like, right now is suffering is that samsara is unsatisfactory. So that's words is if I use is help for my teaching support. I have this book. The truth of suffering is that samsara is unsatisfactory. See, usually we talk about we all sentient beings, we don't want the suffering. We always say we have to get rid of the suffering. So we're looking something solution for suffering. So that's why Buddha said recognize the suffering. He didn't say that we have to get rid of the suffering. We have to recognize the suffering. Yeah. So this suffering is recognized. We have to know where it come from suffering, which kind of suffering we have. Okay, why we have to get rid of suffering. So have think about that first. See, all the sentient beings want happiness. No one wants suffering. So that's indicates that all sentient beings has a Buddha nature. Actually, all beings wanting happiness. No one wants suffering. That means everyone has the indicate is Buddha nature. That's the reason we want happiness. See, in the front of you have like chairs, tables, and the cups. They don't think about, they want happiness something, because the reason is they don't have Buddha nature. If you have dogs in your home where you live there and all bugs running in front of you, they has Buddha nature. They want happiness, same as us. So that's why we have to recognize all sentient beings want happiness. No one wants suffering. So that's the reason that we have to recognize suffering. Before Buddha, they think the suffering is created by the gods, because God has power. We have to believe the gods, praise to the gods, and follow the gods. Then He can remove the suffering. If we don't follow the gods, He give God's punish for us. That's why we have suffering. So that's the mostly religions think that way. So Buddha, he said, no one control us. This suffering is not punished from the gods, creator someone. This suffering is, where does it come from? We created this suffering. So that's the reason Buddha said we have to recognize suffering. Then all these sentient beings who are in samsara, they all have a suffering. That's why it here says truth of the truth of suffering is that samsara is unsatisfactory. Means all these samsaric beings have a suffering. No one free from that. Do you believe that or no?
Oh yeah.
We see that, right? All these samsaric beings has a suffering. So no one free from this suffering. So that's why Buddha say we have to recognize that. The same is like someone sick. You know, if they don't recognize they are sick, then what is problems? Because they're not going to find a solution.
No.
So that's why we have to recognize our suffering first. Then we have to think about which kind of suffering we have. So here is just the teaching is giving the 3 different sufferings. All the suffering is subsumed into these 3 sufferings. Yeah. So these 3 sufferings, all the sentient beings has means 6 realms all has these sufferings. 6 realms, within 6 realms have all these 3 sufferings. So first one is change of suffering. Change of, right? Change of the correct?
Suffering of change.
Or suffering of change. Sort of like, that's like, I always do mistake that word. Suffering of change.
Right.
Suffering of suffering. Suffering. Pervasive of suffering.
All pervasive.
All pervasive of suffering, yeah?
All pervasive suffering.
Okay, all pervasive of suffering. So these 3 sufferings, within these sufferings, we have 3 sufferings. So we have to recognize these 3. So this 3 suffering is see, God's realms, jealous gods, human beings, animal realms, hungry gods, the hell realms. All these 6 realm beings has these 3 sufferings. So first is the suffering of change. So we have to know what means that. Suffering of change. Suffering of change is something like happy is become change to suffering. Like, or something we, think is good, but that has become causes of suffering. Yeah, so this is the all this we beings have. So see you get something like new, some situations, something new for you. So then that is become, when you get that, you are happy, joy, and slowly that change to suffering. So see, it's thing about the family relations. First, when they get together, it's a happy, joy, it's each other. And then slowly they didn't go long together, sooner or later, or just become families separate. Anyway, that is not always there, it's change. Suffering, change of suffering means suffering of change means that is change to the suffering. So you buy the new car and all slowly its car is like breakdown and change to like kind of odd and something wrong and become suffering. So you get new job, you're happy, and then slowly you didn't go along together, co-workers, or you didn't like the paychecks, or you don't want to do that job anymore. So it's called suffering of change. So that's all suffering of change. First is you're happy, but then slowly you are not happy. Suffering of change. So many things like that, suffering of change. See, some people get job, they make lots of money. The money is like become causes of life. You know, that's also suffering of change. So example, like I saw the news like 1 month ago, I think, in the one famous guy is Baspo, right? He's the guy who helicopter crash, you know, he dead, right? He passed away.
Yeah, Kobe Bryant.
Probably, but kind of that is called suffering of change. The reason is when he is become famous, he can make money. He's happy, so that money is actually causes of his death, causes of his life, you know, right? So because he bought the helicopter, then helicopter crashes, it's like the helicopter take his life. Yeah, he get the job, he's become famous, he can make money. It's all the causes of his life. What is the causes of his life? The causes of his death, right? That's correct. Yeah, causes of his death. See, so that's kind of, you know, many people have like that kind of situations. So then hold this world like doing similar like that, you know, similar like that. It's all create warpings, you know, bones. This all is like causes of like it's, you know, it's causes of death. Many beings suffering. So it's a change, you know, the change to suffering of change. Then we know, like, see, all this object, everything is changing. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is, you know, like kind of a suit for permanent. How to say like nothing object is like have a permanent giving happiness for us. So all is changing. So that's why it's called suffering of change. Yeah. And then human beings, when we born to every day is changing. It's going to every day is close to death. So that's also change, suffering of change. Then we have to recognize that. We have to recognize. Second one is a suffering of suffering. So that is easy to recognize, the suffering of suffering. Suffering of suffering is so something, you know, like we have problems, then we get another problems. So this is called suffering of suffering. Actually, long as we have this body, when we was born already, we have a pervasive of suffering. Then you get headache, you can get, you know, sick, or you get lose something, you not happy, sadness. All this is called suffering of suffering. Yeah, suffering of suffering. Most things is like suffering of suffering. So third one is called pervasive of suffering, I think. That's
all pervasive.
All pervasive of suffering. It's harder to get pronunciation, that one. That is hardest to understand, recognize. All pervasive of suffering is. The reason is not directly suffering, you know, kind of like indirectly of suffering, or kind of pervasive suffering is like we have already best of suffering. Long as we born, then we have old age, we have sickness, we have all this kind naturally unstopped, you know, coming. Right? So that is all pervasive of suffering. So regular beings don't recognize that. only noble beings recognize. They have one example. They said, like, you know, this eyelash means like something here is put in the hand, so nothing fears. Like here, your hair is put in the palm, you don't fear, you don't recognize. So same like that, regular beings don't recognize. This eye, the hair is like going into your eyes, your eye is pain. So the Bodhisattvas who has kind of a wisdom, they recognize all pervasive of suffering. They can fear that, but regular beings don't recognize, don't fear that. Okay, so I just share with you the like who passed away, like basketball, this guy who passed away. See, the Bodhisattvas who has like wisdom eyes, they recognize what he's doing is going to cause of his death. So regular beings don't recognize what happening, what going on. So that's why Bodhisattvas sees like our regular, ordinary beings, you know, doing mistakes, recognize, but we don't recognize. Yeah, so actually our doing all this samsaric activity is causes of suffering, but we don't recognize that. We thinking is what we doing activities is causes of happiness, but who has wisdom eyes, the Bodhisattvas, they recognize what our doing all this worldly activities causes of suffering. So that is called all pervasive of suffering. Yeah, make sense?
Yep.
So this three suffering is all sentient beings has. Especially the sentient being means like who in the samsara six realms, within 6 realms, all beings have this suffering. Yeah, these 3 sufferings. And that's the reason Buddha said we have to recognize that we have suffering. So that suffering is not some creator God to punish for us. So Buddha said we have to recognize that. Then recognize, we have to look to where this suffering come from. Who created this suffering? Then he said, second one is called origination of suffering. So this 4th statement, Buddha, when he share, first he talking about the result, then he go to the cause. So this also the different teachers share a little bit different ways. Some teachers talk about the first cause and then result. So some teachers talk about the result first, then cause. Actually, when Buddha he talk this, not really lots of details and recognize suffering, and then he said, you know, this origination of suffering need purified. So that means like lots like Buddha when he shares like first is like suffering recognized, result taught, then he go to the cause. It's easy to introduce to people is a talk first cause and the result. But you logically result is a talk first and the cause is a second is better to logically, you know, like more intellectual way to teaching. Yeah, so that's the reason first we have to recognize the result suffering, samsara result suffering. Okay, then second is like we have to recognize origination of suffering. So that is the origination of suffering is more, we have to follow more details. Then actually followed by this Buddhist philosophy. Origination of suffering, see, is the causes of suffering. So Buddha, when he's enlightened, he realized the suffering is not someone created for us. He sees suffering is come from origination of suffering. So then he all this he's investigating, use whatever he apply method is must be antidote to origination of suffering. So the fire is suffering. The firewood is origination of suffering. Yeah. So same like that. If you don't have firewood, then fire is naturally die. If you have lots firewood, you put more firewood. You don't want to fire. No choice. It's become fire is more strong and strong. Right? Fire is heat. It's burning. Being is suffering. Same is like burning. So that's the reason Buddha said we have to get rid of this firewood. So don't think about the gods, what he did, He said, not related to anything with us. God is no use for that. And he had said we have to look to our origination of suffering. So origination of suffering is not, the Buddha recognized, is not our natural mind. If origination of suffering is nature of our mind, then we cannot get rid of that. Not possible. So you recognize realization means like Buddha recognized origination suffering is not our natural mind. Then Buddha recognize is origination of suffering is not permanent. If origination of suffering is permanent, then we don't have a choice, because we cannot get rid of that. It's permanent. Nothing can find any other solutions to remove that. Because if the origination of suffering is permanent, then we don't have a choice. So what Buddha he realized is origination of suffering is not our natural mind. Origination of suffering is not permanent. So origination of suffering is impermanent, is temporary. Temporary means like not our natural mind. So that's why origination of temporary and impermanent. That's then look to that. There has another solution. Origination of suffering as a solution. So something antidote for origination of suffering. Yeah. So you get rid of origination of suffering, naturally remove the suffering. The suffering result of suffering is naturally removed. I just share 3 different kinds of suffering is naturally removed. So that's the reason Buddha didn't find a solution for looking for solution for suffering. All the teaching is looking solution is origination of suffering. Then what is origination of suffering? So we have to think about what it means origination of suffering. So origination of suffering is our self-grasping. Long as we have self-grasping, then we have emotions. Long as you have emotions, you create a karma, then the karma result is suffering. So that's the reason Buddha he investigate this self is permanent or impermanent. So Buddha found self is impermanent. He recognizes self is temporary, self is not permanent, self is not nature of our mind. So self is temporary, self is delusion, self is impermanent. But we say that the self is not going to go away. First, we have to understand that, then we have to apply method to antidote for ourselves. So that's the reason we have to meditate the selflessness of a person, selflessness of phenomena meditation. So these two meditations antidote to self-grasping. And long as self-grasping is purified, diminished, then naturally our emotion is going to stop or going to diminish. So that's why, other hand, Buddha said, we have to know cessation. So followed by, actually, this Four Noble Truths followed by is patience. See, we are sick, the suffering. You know, right now we have a lot of worries, many people say, right? That is called suffering. Okay, where this suffering, this sickness come from? Because it's a worries, right? That is origination of suffering. So then you think about, you are free from that suffering, you are recovered. It's like you are happy, you are enjoy. So you recognize that result is called cessation. So I have used something method, I can get free from illness. So that is a cessation. So you wanted that, and then we have to apply the, kind of like method. The method is like see the doctor, get the medicine, that is a path. So no, see, this sickness is suffering. The cause is what is like origination of suffering. And then if you use method, medicine or something, you can recover is a cessation. And you have to apply something, antidote to what is a path. So that's the reason. So now example, we sick, we recognize we are sick. So now we know, so we have this kind of worries, like, emotions. And we wanted to become free from, this illness. Then we have to apply the medicine. So it's medicine is a path. So medicine is antidote to our origination of suffering. So that's the reason the result is not that much important. Only just recognize. See, path, result is a cessation. Cessation also we have to recognize. Same is like, we have to free from illness. So we know, I'm free from this illness, I'm happy. Same like that, we have to recognize cessation. So you wanted that, then you have to know what you have to do. It's a path. So then that path must have to antidote to origination of suffering. So that's the reason, two cause, two result. The Four Noble Truths has two causes, two result. So two cause is like, one cause is a samsara's cause, one cause is a Buddhahood, cessation. Okay, origination of suffering is the causes of samsara, and the path is the causes of enlightenment. Yeah, so enlightenment cause, the path is antidote to samsara's cause, is the origination of suffering. So we have strong origination of suffering, then the other hand, path is diminished. Ordinary beings has strong origination of suffering than path. Bodhisattva has path is a strong than origination of suffering. This truth cannot be got together. It's followed by scientific or something, followed by like scientists way. Logically, followed by logic. So that's why Buddha found the path means actually follow this Four Noble Truths. See, before Buddha, these all teachers talk about all the creator gods. They don't talk about the origination of suffering. They don't talk about the suffering. Suffering is God is punished, creator gods punish. So we cannot do anything with that. Then they don't think about the origination of suffering. Buddha thought he is become enlightened. He found the path, means he recognized no one control us. The origination of suffering is cause of suffering. So he recognized that. The origination of suffering is not permanent, it's not nature of mind. There has some solution, is he found the path. So path is introduced to origination of suffering. So we have this self-grasping, so we can meditate selflessness of person. So get rid of this selflessness, self, get rid of self. So then we can realize the selflessness of a person, then we are free from samsara, free from suffering. So that's the reason we have to apply this method, antidote to origination of suffering. Right now, what we have, self-grasping, self. So we have to meditate the selflessness of a person. Usually we meditate the selflessness of a person is investigating yourself, crawl to your feet. The meditators, close eye and investigating yourself. That is followed by usually I share the mind for body meditation, So basic one is just we focus each part of body, mind be with the body. That also helps mind become peaceful. But that is not enough. Get rid of the self. So then you have to go more deeper than that meditation. So when you focus in your part of your body, you have to investigate. So example, if you focus on your forehead here, so you have to recognize this forehead is compound of phenomena, not uncompounded. It's compound of phenomena. So part of particles is have to recognize impermanent. So then you look to investigating yourself like this forehead is not one existed permanently, not one there. Is compound of phenomena means many part of particles. So that is cannot be self. Self is only one permanent entity. So that's the reason you investigate that. So you see all this forehead is impermanent. Then you investigate your ears, your eyes, your nose, your mouth, all this whole of your head. So you recognize your head is not self. Self is one permanent entity. This whole head is a compound of phenomena. It's impermanent, not permanent. It's not only one there. It's so many part of particles. So you recognize that your head is not self. Then you meditate your hand. Also same thing, logic. Your right hand, left hand, your chest, your legs, all you investigate. You cannot find self is exist in your body. So you recognize that, meditate, then naturally that you meditate more, less self-grasping, to your own body, less self. Then less become self is less suffering. Suffering is a diminish. Okay, so grasping is strong, then that's result suffering is more strong, very strong. So your grasping fixation is less and less. Your grasping or suffering also become less and less. So example, the 5 years ago, I'm attached to my hair. I'm grasping to my hair. I don't cut hair. It's like every week. Yeah. Okay. So then I make growing a little bit longer. So you can see my older picture has long hairs. I don't like to cut the hairs. Okay. So that time I attached to grasping to my hair. So now my hair is like white color come everywhere. I wanted to cut, get rid of every week. It's no problem. See, that means like less grasping to my hair. I can easy to get rid of. So that is an example. If you have something problem in your hand, that has something infections, this is going to affect whole your body. You can cut your finger. Is very easy. Otherwise they're going to affect the whole your body, so you have to cut. It's like you can go through that, no problem. You can cut, get rid of your finger. So if you don't have that problem, you cannot cut your finger, right? Not possible. Yeah. See, that means like we are strongly attached, grasping to these fingers. So long as we have that, we cannot get rid of this. One day you are not attached to this, you see this is a problem. If get rid of is very easy. So like that, when you think about how your body is like that, long as when you have a strong fixation, grasping, then if you do something also easily pain, hurt yourself. Yeah. So one day you recognize this self is like not that kind of strong fixation to your body, then you are less pain, less suffering. Even your cut the finger is you are not suffering. I told you, just see like that. Your mind is already get rid of that. Make sense or no? See, this all the right now the cars always in the dealership, whatever going on problems, earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes, you don't worry about anything because you not fixation grasping to the cars in the dealership cars. One day you buy the cars, it's take to your mind, this is my car, and then hurricane comes, you have to take care of that, right? Okay, so tsunamis or anything, whatever problems you are like kind of suffering with the car. If you like scratch, accidents, whatever comes, something wrong, stealing, other people stealing, you are suffering. Why is happening that? Because your mind is already fixation to that object. Even same object, if that car is in the dealership, you don't have that. One day you take it's mine, then the car is already causes of suffering. So same thing, your families, families, who is like your important, you are more attached to that. So parents has like same parents has like 5 kids, example of 5 kids. One kid is like maybe really bad. It's not listening parents, or maybe it's kind of something wrong, and then the kid is like not really good. Other 4 is very good. See the the other 4 kids have something wrong, their parents are suffering. Other one is they don't care. Even the actually their own child. See, that is like, you know, minds. We more grasping, fixation to that, and then you know, you care about that and it become causes of suffering. Make sense or no? So that's the reason. Then the Buddhist Savas, they care about other sentient beings, but their, you know, whatever the object is not causes of suffering. They can be have family, the family is not causes of suffering. They can have a car, the car is not causes of suffering. They use that car, but not grasping, fixation to that. Other ordinary beings strongly fixation, grasping to that object. So that's why everything become causes of suffering. Yeah. See, the Buddha's love is causes of happiness. Ordinary beings' love is causes of suffering. Because ordinary beings' love is attachment. Buddha's love is become based on the, you know, unconditional love. Do you think so or no? Agree or no? Everyone really pay attention, very good, pay attention. So anyway, like that. See, that is the origination of suffering. So it means Buddha understanding everything clearly. What is the causes of suffering? So sometimes we share these teachings, people think, oh, I have to get rid of these things. That's also misunderstand. When Buddha talked teaching, this teaching is say selflessness of a person. Then his disciples, they get rid of the body, and they wanted to go away, you know, die. So then Buddha said that is a wrong way, misunderstand. So he said, I teach is not attached to fixation to body. I didn't say get rid of your body. Yeah. Get rid of body means like you not free from suffering. You get another body again. Yeah. So sometimes we say we cannot attach to this object. Some people get rid of object. You get rid of object, your mind is not free from attachment. It's still there. So that's the reason we have to meditate. Selflessness of a person, selflessness of phenomena, recognize everything is like impermanent, recognize interdependent, recognize all is emptiness. So then whatever you have, whatever you own is not causes of suffering. Yeah. So Buddha, he can love for all the sentient beings, but not causes of suffering. We love for only our families, still causes of suffering. Okay. See, then they have a lot of stories. Like one story is, we don't have much time to share with you. When Buddha shared this teaching, one guy, he has a son. So actually mother is passed away, I think. So he has one son. He's strongly attached to his son. Fixation, attached to his son. He always thinking about his son. Actually, you're thinking about that, always one, that has more obstacles all the time. If you don't care much, less obstacles. If you always so strong, your strong fixation to attach to that is you have more obstacles. Okay, so the father is strongly attached to his son, and one day his father has to go to other place. So he have to leave his son at home. And that day, terrorists attacked the village, and the terrorists killed many of the village people, burned the house, fire. So then the father is coming back. He strongly fixation to his son. He, long as he sees that his whole village is burned and killed the people, he get his son is killed, the dead. He is dead. So he looking for body. He found one body is burnt, so he think that is his son's body, and he cremated, and he push ashes is like his home, and he crying, suffering. So then his rare son is coming back, because his rare son is run away. He he didn't care. He come back. He knocked the door, asked father, come back. Father no open the door. He said he already 100% think his son is dead. So he cried is with ash. So then his son, no choice, he have to go away, because his father already his son is already gone. His son is already ash. The ash is his son. The real son is not his son. So that is like attachment, desires very strong. Below the wisdom, everything is causes of suffering become. So Buddha shared this story for his students, and many things, this samsara, what we doing things is the causes of suffering, okay? Causes of suffering. So that's the reason, whatever we have this object things, we can have, but no strong grasping fixation to that. Just you have to recognize, you have to recognize impermanent. So you have to recognize everything's going to change. So then become your mind's like not really strong fixation to that object. Then you can have that object, but no, that object is no causes of suffering. Then objects is your, causes of become happiness. Yeah, so that's why. So we have to know this origination of suffering. It's attachment, desire. See, anger is always origination of suffering. So other hand is a path, is a dharma practice. Meditate impermanent, meditate selflessness of a person, just I shared. Then meditate selflessness of phenomena, recognize all this, everything outer level phenomena is emptiness. Nothing is exist, permanently inherently exist. So that's meditations. And then you can have meditated love, compassion, wisdom. All these practices called path is introduced to origination of suffering. So path is become strong practice, then result is cessation, free from suffering. So we already get rid of suffering, yeah? So that is called Four Noble Truth. So now we finish it there, it's better Four Noble Truth. So do you have any questions? You can ask some few questions, then I have to go to and the big party celebration New Year.
Hi, Kempo, thank you.
You're welcome.
So why are they called the Four Noble Truths?
Why they called the Four Noble Truths?
Mm-hmm.
You mean why is it called the noble, right? Noble?
The noble, yeah, right. Yeah. Why not just the Four Truths? Yeah.
So truth means like actually whatever happening is truth for us, right? Even suffering is like truth for ordinary beings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then that's the reason it's called the truth. The noble is, I don't know why it's called the noble for this origination of and the suffering. Other one is of course noble, right? Path is noble, something special, treasure things. So noble means actually the thing is generally some teachings that says like noble means like you recognize that the teaching, what we say is recognize suffering, you know like origination of suffering, so you know this path, you know the result is become noble thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Usually we don't know these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then that's intention or this usually we don't know, we don't have wisdoms, then ordinary thoughts become noble precious thoughts. It means like you understand.
Mm.
So kind of like that, yeah. Then they also explain many difference, so different teachers.
One more question about
Yes.
refuge.
Yes.
About not worshiping worldly gods and deities. Does
Yes.
that refer, like that was contradictory to the other religions in India at the time of Buddha's enlightenment? Does that refer to like creator gods of other religions?
Yes.
Yeah.
The who not enlightened beings, so they cannot take refuge with that. Yes.
So are
The
they
reason
just-
is they're not only contradiction, they're not like really against that teaching, but that means like they are samsara, reality.
they're
Like
in the God realm?
they
per
are
se?
stuck in. That's why they don't have ability to help for others free from suffering.
Mm.
So Buddha said, don't take refuge to that kind of gods. The reason is that they are also stuck in samsara. They cannot help you to free from suffering.
Mm-hmm. Just in a different realm.
Yeah. So not really against to the other religion, but so you just say someone don't know how to swim, don't rely on that person, because when you swim,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Thank you. Have fun at the party.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks.
So no more questions, yeah? Okay, thank you everyone then. So good evening.
Thank you, dear Tempo.
You're welcome. So see you then.
Thank you, Tempo.
Yeah.
Have fun at the party.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying the short dedication.
Okay.
Yeah, very short one, okay?
Okay.
So now lam ye se pa nye don na nye be da na bam se de ye ga nan je ba lon ru ba ye de ben zo le ru ba yam ba ra ba we je da ran jen ba ben de zang bo de yan de yen de da gen je ji se da la ge wan de da tang je ra de mo. Thank you, everyone. Good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tempo.
Thank you, Kempo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Hey, everybody.
Don't forget to read or
Thank you.
your homework. So you have to read the whole thing. It's for Noble Truth, the teaching.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Bye.